Good morning students. Welcome to this online teaching classes of Academic World School, Bevetara. Today we are going to start the topic transportation, which is from the first chapter. In the previous classes we have completed nutrition and respiration. Today we will start transportation. From the word transportation itself we understand that some material is being transformed or transported from one place to another. Transportation is the movement of substances from a region of availability to the region of use. Now the question arises, what are the things in living organisms that are transported? From living organisms we understand both plants and animals. In plants basically water and minerals are transported, and in animals there are many things like food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, waste material, hormones, which are transported from one place to the other. So today we will start transportation. Let's see. This is transportation. In transportation we understand from both plants and animals. In plants and animals. In plants, vascular bundle is responsible, or vascular strand is there, which transports basically carbon dioxide and water and minerals. Water and minerals. Whereas in animals it is food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones and waste products are transported from the region of availability to the region of use. Now we will discuss about animals today. Now in animals, this transportation basically we call it as circulatory system. Depending upon the type of fluid, circulatory system, this which we call as the circulatory system, depending on the fluid, we categorize into two parts. One is blood vascular system, blood vascular system, and the other one is lymphatic system, lymphatic system. Today we are going to discuss about blood vascular system. We will see what are the components of the blood vascular system. Circulatory system or the blood vascular system basically consists of three components. One is blood, the second one are the blood vessels, and the third one is the pumping organ, that is heart. To begin with, we will start with blood. Now see, blood we all know it is red in color and it is a fluid connective tissue. Red in color, why? Because there is a pigment called hemoglobin which is present and is responsible for the red color in the blood. This hemoglobin is rich in iron content, and this hemoglobin combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin and is transported to various parts of the body. Similarly, carbon dioxide binds with this hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin and is taken to the respective organ for its exchange. So this hemoglobin acts as a binder of oxygen and carbon dioxide. We will see what are the components of blood. The blood is basically has two components. One is plasma and the other one is blood corpuscles, or we can also call it as blood cells. This blood, we already know that blood is a colloidal solution. If we see externally, it seems to be a homogeneous mixture, but it is not so. It is a colloidal solution which has plasma and blood cell as its components. If we put it in the process of centrifugation, we can easily separate the components. So see this plasma, it constitutes of 55% of the total blood. So if plasma alone is 55%, so blood corpuscle will be the remaining, that is 45% of total blood. And what does this plasma constitutes of? It constitutes of 92% water and 8% solute. In solutes, what are the things that we understand as in solutes? These are protein, inorganic salts, heparin and many more substances. Heparin is a substance which prevents the coagulation of blood. We know that as soon as the blood comes out from the body, it coagulates. Then why the blood which is present inside the body does not coagulate? That is due to the substance called heparin, and this heparin is present in plasma. So this solute contains heparin. It also consists of inorganic salts, protein, nutrients and many more. This plasma is a straw colored. What is the color? It is a straw colored. It is straw colored liquid. The total constituent is 55% of the total blood, out of which 92% is water and 8% is solute. Solutes are the various substances like inorganic salts, heparin, this protein and many more. The second one is the blood corpuscles. Now if this constitutes of 55%, we are left with this 45%. Blood corpuscles are again classified into three types. It is RBC, WBC and blood platelets. We'll study one by one. Platelets. These blood cells are formed in the bone marrow. Formed in bone marrow. We'll see the first one, RBC. What is the full form of RBC? The full form of RBC is red blood cells or red blood corpuscles. It is also called erythrocytes. This RBC is formed in the bone marrow and the older RBC is destroyed in the spleen. Right? The average lifespan of RBC is 120 days. It contains hemoglobin, as we all know, which is responsible for the red color and is also it becomes a carrier for oxygen and carbon dioxide gas. So what should be the normal count of hemoglobin in human adult? It should be 15 milligram. What should be the normal count? Hemoglobin? Hemoglobin should be 15 mg per 100 ml of blood. And how much RBC should be present in the blood? It should be 4.5 to 5 million per ml of blood. The average lifespan is 120 days. The lifespan is 120 days. So these are the features of RBC, commonly known as erythrocytes. It contains hemoglobin, which is responsible for the red color, and it should be 15 mg per 100 ml of blood. And the normal count of RBC should be 4.5 to 5 million, 4.5 in females and 5 in males million per millimeter of blood. And the lifespan is 120 days. What is the function of RBC? Basically, it helps to transport carbon dioxide and oxygen gas. Second, we will move towards WBC. Note it down, take a notepad when I teach, note it down all the points, okay, so that you can study it afterwards. Second one we will continue is WBC. See, W, white blood cell, or we can call it white blood corpuscle. It is also called as leukocytes. This WBC helps in defense of the body. It helps to fight foreign germs which enter into the body. And what are its lifespan? The lifespan is 12 hours to several days. It is colorless, nucleated, nucleus is present, whereas this nucleus is absent in RBC. It is biconcave, circular, enucleate, means in RBC nucleus is absent. Enucleate, nucleus is absent. Here in WBC the lifespan is 12 hours to several days. The function is defense of the body. It is colorless, nucleated. These WBC are of two types. Write it down. Whenever I am writing something, note it down in your notepad so that you can read it afterwards. Right? I will rub this portion. What are the two types? WBC can be, if granules are present, we call it as granulocyte. And in absence of granules, we call it as agranulocyte. These granulocytes are again three types. What are they? Basophil, eosinophil and neutrophil. And agranulocyte is of two types, monocyte and lymphocyte. So what we have read is WBC are the white blood cells, or it is also called as white blood corpuscles, commonly known as leukocyte. And the lifespan is 12 hours to several days. It is formed in the bone marrow. Right? And the main function is defense of the body. It fight against foreign germs. WBC are of two kinds, granulocyte and agranulocyte. Granulocyte are basophil, eosinophil and neutrophil, and agranulocytes are monocyte and lymphocyte. So this is about WBC. One thing you have to keep in mind, that in RBC nucleus is absent, whereas in WBC nucleus is present. Right? Then we will move towards the third one, that is blood platelets. Let me erase this portion. Blood platelets. These platelets are also called as thrombocytes. And what is the main function? The main function is it helps in blood clotting. What do you mean by blood clotting? Whenever there is a cut in the body, there is a wound or there is a scratch, we start bleeding. But after some time, 2 to 5 minutes, we find that the bleeding has stopped automatically. This stopping of the bleeding means a clot is formed there. This blood clot is formed with the help of these blood platelets. And what is the lifespan of blood platelets? It is 7 to 10 days, right? And we'll see what are the mechanism of blood clotting. This blood clotting mechanism involves 3 steps, right? Let me erase this portion. There are 3 steps in the mechanism of blood clotting. What happens that the blood clots? Why the blood does not clot inside the body? Why it clots only when exposed to outside? We'll see. Mechanism. We'll see mechanism of blood clotting. This mechanism involves 3 steps. First of all, what happens? The blood platelets, which we were reading just now, the blood platelets rupture. The blood platelets rupture and releases thromboplastin. This thromboplastin is released only when the blood platelets rupture. Now what happens? Prothrombin, the second step, prothrombin gets converted into thrombin only in the presence of this thromboplastin and calcium ion. Now the third step is fibrinogen. It's a protein. Fibrinogen gets converted into fibrin only in the presence of thrombin. So it's a kind of a chain reaction. You can see this fibrin, and here you will get calcium ions. Fibrin, which is the clot. Now what do you understand by this? That the blood will not clot inside the body. The blood clots whenever it gets exposed, or there is a cut, or there is an injury. What will happen? The blood platelets will rupture to release thromboplastin, and prothrombin will be converted into thrombin only in the presence of thromboplastin and calcium ions. The third step is the fibrinogen will be converted into fibrin, which is clot, which is a mesh-like, network-like structure which seals the point of injury. And this fibrin will be formed only in the presence of thrombin and calcium ion. So these are the three steps in the mechanism of blood clotting. Now there is a question. We all have seen some detective or crime kind of serials and movies. What we see is that from every crime scene a sample of blood is collected to where the forensic department tries to identify the criminal. Now what does the forensic department tests on is the DNA. We know that everybody has a specific DNA sequence. Now this DNA, now tell me from the blood which component might be the foreign experts researching on. The forensic experts will research on which part of the blood. Is it RBC? Is it WBC? Or is it blood platelets? That is the question. The answer is that the forensic department will take the sample of blood and will try to find out or research on WBC. Why? Because we know that DNA is present only inside the nucleus, and we saw that in RBC nucleus is absent. In platelets also nucleus is absent. Nucleus is only present in WBC. So it is from the WBC that the forensic expert will try to find out the DNA sequence. And if you see the count, where the RBC count is 4.5 to 5 million per gram of blood, per milliliter of blood. At the same time WBC, it is only 5,000 to 8,000 per milliliter of blood. See, the number is so small, means the WBC number is very small, very less as compared to the RBC, right? So we have found that in components of blood we have RBC, we have WBC, and we have blood platelet. So what we have completed is components of blood and the mechanism of blood clotting. Now we will move forward towards functions of blood. What are the functions of blood? The first function of blood, which we have been reading from the beginning of this chapter, is transportation. Blood helps to transport nutrients, blood helps to transport oxygen, it helps to transport carbon dioxide, it helps to transport waste products, it helps to transport hormones, and it helps in defense mechanism because WBC helps to fight germs, it helps to maintain the body temperature, it also helps to regulate the pH of the body. So there are 5 to 7 functions of blood. So we have completed functions of blood. We will move towards the second one, that is blood vessels. Blood vessels are kind of a tube kind of structure. Blood vessels are a tube kind of structure where through which the blood will flow. So blood vessels can be of three types. One is arteries, veins and capillaries. Capillaries we have also read in the previous section, respiratory system. So first one is arteries and veins. We will see how these veins and artery are different from one another. This arteries are the blood vessels which carry blood away from the heart. A for artery and A for away. How we will remember? It carries blood away from the heart. Here the blood pressure is less. Here blood pressure is more. Flow of blood is rapid. Flow of blood is rapid. Walls are thick and elastic. The lumen of artery is narrow. Lumen is narrow. Valves are absent. It is deep seated. These arteries, they carry blood away from the heart. The blood pressure is more. Why? Because the lumen is small. The lumen, the diameter, the lumen is narrow. Because it is narrow, the blood will flow in more pressure as compared to veins. The flow of blood will be rapid. The walls are thick and elastic to bear the pressure. The lumen is narrow, valves are absent, and it is deep seated. The arteries carry oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. These arteries, they carry oxygenated blood. There is an exception. The exception is pulmonary artery. What is the exception? Exception is pulmonary artery. Now let's see what happens in vein. It carries blood away from the heart. So veins carry blood towards the heart. Just opposite. From here, in place of away, we'll write towards. It carries blood towards the heart. Carries blood towards the heart. What was the second point? Blood pressure is more. So here blood pressure will be is less. What is the third? Flow of blood is rapid. Here flow of blood is slow. Why? Because the lumen is wide. Walls are thick and elastic. Here walls are thinner. Walls are thinner as compared to artery. What was the next point? Lumen is narrow. So here lumen is wide. Here valves are absent. Here valves are present. It is deep seated. It is superficial. Here it carries oxygenated blood. Veins will carry deoxygenated blood. It will carry deoxygenated blood. But there is an exception again. Here the exception was pulmonary artery. Here the exception is pulmonary vein. means all veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein. These exceptions are very important. It carries blood away from the heart, A for artery and A for away, A for artery, A for away. It carries blood away from the heart. Blood pressure is low, blood flow is rapid, walls are thick and elastic, lumen is narrow, valves are absent, and it is deep seated. This is a basic difference between artery and vein. We are remaining with the capillaries. Capillaries we have read in previous class as well. Capillaries are the site for the exchange of materials. It is single layered and the flow of blood is very slow, so that it provides sufficient time for the exchange to take place. The movement of blood is slow, it is single layered and is a site for exchange of gases. How it looks like? Just see. We can also say that capillaries are the connecting link between the arteries and the veins. See how? This one is the artery. This one is the artery. The artery branches into arterioles. Can you see the branches here? It branches into arterioles. And these arterioles are further branching into capillaries. This is the place where exchange of materials takes place. Here capillaries reunite to form venules and the venules reunite to form veins. So see here, this is the artery, this is the vein and this is the connecting link between the arteries and the veins. The arteries will branch itself to form arterioles, the arterioles will further branch to form thin layered capillaries where exchange of materials will take place. The capillaries will reunite to form branches called venules and these venules will reunite to form veins and thus the arteries and the veins are connected. So the arteries, veins and capillaries you have to understand very nicely. These are all the blood vessels which is a part of circulatory system. Circulatory system consists of the fluid, that is blood, the vessels through which it runs, it is the blood vessels, and the third one which is the most important is the heart, which is a pumping organ which will pump the blood into the blood vessels so that it reaches to different parts of the body. So this heart we will take up in our next lecture. So note it down everything. I will give you 3 assignments. These assignments you have to complete in the copy, you have to take a pic and you have to upload it in the ERP. Keep one thing in mind that you have to submit the assignment the very next day of the video lecture. So the 3 assignments are, note it down. The 3 assignments, write down. The 3 assignments. First one, draw a flow chart. Draw a flow chart to show the components of blood. Second one, explain the mechanism of blood clotting. And the third one is how are arteries different Veins. So these 3 assignments you will complete because it's a part of your assessment of your periodic test. So complete it properly in a good handwriting and send it to me by tomorrow. Thank you.